Oh God, you and Adam Driver. No, they're gonna make a restriction just for you, where you can't do that and harass Adam Driver. They're gonna keep you as far away, 20 yards away from Adam at all times. Welcome back to another week of the Hub on Hollywood podcast. I'm James.
I'm Jamie.
We are saying goodbye to a movie legend on this week's episode. Carl Weathers has passed away in so many great, iconic movies. We will talking about some of those films as well as the reaction in the celebrity world. Speaking about celebrities, Saltburn Barry Keoghan is honored at Harvard. He was the Hasty Pudding Man of the Year. Quite the festivities were had. A first look also at two new shows, Mr. and Mrs. Smith and Zorro. Yes, the Caped Crusader is back on the small screen, still pushing for the big screen, but at least we get this. And did Jamie Lee Curtis diss New England? I think she did.
No.
We'll get into that. And CineQuote and so much more.
I'll defend you, namesake. I'll defend you. But here we go. But first,
Yeah.
James, Apple Vision. What?
Yeah.
What is this? Because I'm seeing a lot of YouTube videos and things, and it looks like a VR headset, but it seems to be a little bit more.
Yeah, so what Apple is calling it, instead of like a VR virtual reality headset, they're calling it like this spatial awareness headset of sorts,
Okay.
Because your normal typical VR stuff, you put on these goggles that look like ski goggles, ski masks, and you are
Right.
taken into this world, this virtual world of sorts. Here,
Right.
you can actually interact with things in the real world. So like say you put these goggles on, you can look at your entire living room. However, you could pop up screens left and right. You can work on floating keyboards. You can do literally like so much with this new tech.
So
and
like
when I first
Tony
saw this,
Stark stuff, yeah.
Basically Tony Stark stuff. Like you will be
Yeah.
Iron Man. But I thought, one thing that's really cool about this is that you can not only, work on like on a VR computer screen, but you can also set up actual screens for movies, for TV shows, and I think this could revolutionize the future of home entertainment, or literally entertainment anywhere you go, whether you're on a plane, whether you're on a long car ride cross country, or you are in the comfort of your living room. You can not only set up a screen like just floating in the air, you can adjust the size, so you can have like a 22-inch, you can have a 75-inch screen, or a screen that takes up the entire wall, and it just stays in place. Not only that, can you have like set up in your living room, but there's a setting where you can like disappear the rest of the surrounding around you. So you could watch a movie on the moon, in the Amazon forest, or in your own personalized movie theater, and you could just like seat yourself anywhere in this theater, and the possibilities seem endless. And so I think this is a great thing for home entertainment, but also could be another blow to the movie in theater experience. What are your thoughts?
Well, here's the thing. I think it sounds amazing, James, but
Yeah.
I'm a very sensory person. Okay, so, and what I mean by that is, it sounds amazing, but it's the headset itself that I think could present a problem. Anytime that I've ever used a VR headset, it didn't fit right, or it was too tight on my face, and then it was just really hard to focus on what we were looking at, and hard to get that sort of 3D image to look right. And just the sensation of having that on my head, sort of dampened my enjoyment of what I was seeing through it. So in that way, I wonder if they've worked on some of the kinks that, just traditional VR headsets have. But I
Yes
like
and
the
no.
idea of it. I like the idea of, let me just, here's my, my keyboard.
Yeah.
This is my typing machine. And then,
The old clickety clack.
Yes, my typewriter. Oh, maybe you could have though like a virtual typewriter and get all those
Yeah.
sounds and things like that, and do the Tony Stark like
Yeah.
zoom
So
zoom blow.
there are definitely good pros about it. However, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, there are things that still, this is the first generation of the Apple Vision Pro. But the biggest thing that a lot of people have been saying is that it is heavy. Because this is made out of like really like grade A material, like actual glass, like the various types of
Wow.
metals, and so it is heavier than your average VR set, not by much. However,
Yeah.
because of the way it's made and the specific strap that Apple created for it, from what I've heard from those who've been reviewing it, they say that after 20, 30 minutes, you do feel its weight. And so I've seen people walking out and about around like New York City, Times Square with it, which is really fun and funny because they could bring up screens and watch videos and do all this really cool stuff. But
While
for
walking.
some, yeah,
Yeah.
while walking. But people who said
Wow.
this would work best if you are like on a couch, if you are on a recliner, if you are having your head rest, because after a while you do feel the weight of it. And so after, I know it has a battery life like per charge of 2 hours, so you could watch a movie maybe an hour and a half, like 2 hours and a half, maybe three if you're pushing it. So you can watch a movie. You could plug it into the wall or into an outlet that'll have it like nonstop power. So there is the power restriction of it. The weight is also a big thing. And so because this is the first version of it, people are theorizing, of course, the next generation hopefully will be lighter. Hopefully the battery will be longer. And so, but when they do that, again, people are saying like this is groundbreaking, and this is a huge leap in technology, and you can
Yeah.
bet that other companies are going to be trying to mimic
One
it,
up
trying to make
them.
their own version
Yeah.
of it. So I think this is, again, people say this all the time, this is the worst that it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better, whether that's lighter, faster, more battery, more convenient. So that's going to be an interesting future.
Well, when you put it that way, I think that there's always going to be a market for people who want to use this kind of technology to enjoy entertainment at home, like movies and things like that. But I don't, just me personally, James, I don't foresee it being something that's going to take more away from the theaters or anything like that. I think that people who are kind of already into this thing will be into it, and I don't know how much of an impact that would have on the movie going experience per se. It sounds like it could be really cool to play with at home for
Yeah.
sure. But for me myself, I don't know about you, James. I'll ask, what do you think? But I just know that me myself, that wouldn't be comfortable for me, and I don't know that I would enjoy watching a movie like that. Except perhaps, can we like zoom in? You know what I mean? Can we get ourselves into the movie? Feel like,
So
can
app
Adam
developers are
Driver be
working on
like
that.
right here? Huh?
Oh God, you and Adam Driver. No, they're gonna make a restriction just for you, where you can't do
Oh
that
no!
and harass Adam Driver. They're gonna
I'm
keep you as
sorry.
far away, 20 yards away from Adam at all times.
Listen, I'm not the one who's responsible for shirtless Kylo Ren. I'm just appreciating it. That's all. I just want to know how close I can get into
Oh God. Adam
the
Driver's gonna file a
testicles.
lawsuit,
I'm
a restraining
sorry.
order, a virtual restraining order
The
against you,
virtual
saying
restraining
you
order.
cannot zoom in this
Oh.
close to me. Oh, that's hilarious. No, but again, this is incredible technology. It's only gonna get better, only gonna get lighter, and so I can imagine down the road in the future, if they do make it lighter, more convenient, where you don't, you could forget you are wearing something. I would love to dabble in it. However, right now the current model costs around $4,000, so it's gonna be a while until I experiment or dabble with that. But let
Yeah.
us know what you think. Does the weight of a heavy headset not bother you? Is it worth the actual theatrical experience without being in the movie theater? I think it poses a lot of questions that
Okay,
we are
and
going
I
to be
would
finding out.
I would just like to say before we move on, it would be really cool if this was the kind of technology that could put you in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, Leonardo DiCaprio's holding you while you go, I'm the king of the world type thing. But if this kind of technology can't put you in the movies, we at the Hub on Hollywood certainly can. And I just want people to stick around because in a little bit we're going to be talking about some local casting calls. And frankly, the biggest and most awesome movies get made here. So stick around for that.
Absolutely. And speaking about some of the best awesome movies ever made, we do have to talk about a movie legend who has passed away, Carl Weathers. You will recognize him most definitely from everything from the Rocky franchise, from The Predator, Happy Gilmore. Most recently, The Mandalorian. This guy was in everything that was huge, and he passed away this past week. Relatives, friends, family say that he passed away in his sleep. An official cause of death has not been released, but this was a big surprise, again, just because of his recent resurgence in the entertainment industry, in particular The Mandalorian and in the Star Wars averse. But yes, the entertainment world is saying goodbye to the actor Arnold Schwarzenegger. He tweeted out that Weathers will always be a legend. Sylvester Stallone, he released a video on Instagram saying that, he's torn up by the news that Weathers was such an integral part of his life and his success. Incredible credit and kudos, saying that he can never have accomplished Rocky without Carl Weathers, of course, playing Apollo Creed. He says that, it's a horrible loss, but he's so fortunate to have been a part of his life. Other people chiming in, Jesse Ventura, Robert Rodriguez, Star Wars, they tweeted as well, saying that he'll always be a member of the Lucas family. So a big loss in the entertainment world.
And I know that we talked about just a few of his incredible accomplishments. How could you be a part of so many amazing movies? But do you have a favorite of all time Carl's Weather performance?
Yeah, so definitely has to be The Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. My wife and I, we actually, because that iconic scene where he and Arnold they meet each other again in an office, and Arnold goes up to him and goes, "Dylan, you son of a bitch," and then they do that iconic arm grab, and then and they're both flexing super hard and everything, and they're all oily and greasy, and just like that iconic moment. And my wife and I, we do that, we say that to each other all the time, like, "Dylan, you son of a bitch." So that has to be my favorite Carl Weathers movie.
Oh, well, and that's an awesome choice, but I feel like my favorite Carl Weathers that, it just makes me smile every single time, is Chubbs in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yeah. The trainer who brings on Happy Gilmore and teaches him everything about golf, and he has the wooden hand that keeps falling off, and and it's so poorly done, you can tell his hand is right here. It's right in the shirt. And then he dies in a freak taxidermy accident. But that performance, makes me smile every time, and that's my most memorable Carl Weathers performance. So what's yours?
Yeah.
And for those who are listening or watching, what's your favorite performance of his? Leave it in the comments and help us honor his memory.
Absolutely. Let's move on let's change the pace. We talked about last week the movie of the star of Saltburn. You have also seen him in the Banshees of Inisherin, The Eternals, also Dunkirk. Barry Keoghan, he was at Harvard and Cambridge last week, being honored after being named the Hasty Pudding 2024 Man of the Year. And it's always super, super fun to see, these big actors come in and having fun and kind of poking fun at themselves and getting really into the theatrics of this award. But yeah, he was here on Friday where there was this roasting of Barry. There are pictures online showing him in an inflatable bathtub with the other members of the theatrical crew, sipping it with long straws. There's one moment where he plunged his face in a bowl of spaghetti, and so so it's all for fun and games. He was in a couple of videos showing him putting screwing in a name that goes on this wall or on this plaque with other members who've been named, the previous Man and Women of the Year, Hasty Pudding Man and Women of the Year. So, he was all in on it. So that was really cool. Congratulations, Barry. Come back to Massachusetts and film your next film here, because we do it all the time.
Exactly. And we've got a number of really great films to look forward to that are coming out soon. One of those being the next Beetlejuice. What is it, 25, 30 years later after the original Beetlejuice? We're now getting the sequel. It filmed here last year and was interrupted by the strike, by the writers and the actors' strike. So Beetlejuice was just 2 days away from the end of their production
Crazy.
when they were interrupted by the strike. They were able to finally wrap things up, and it looks like the film is ready to come out. And now we know the title of this revival of Beetlejuice. What is it? What is it going to be?
It is Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Just short of the triple
Right.
Beetlejuice call sign, but this automatically has me thinking. The poster, when you're looking at it, it says the wait is almost over. It shows Beetlejuice's hands holding like the ticket number, like 090624. His long wait is almost over, and then the title says Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. This makes me think that this may be a trilogy with the third movie, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
What are your thoughts on the poster? What are your thoughts on the title?
I think that I agree. I think you're hitting the nail on the head, and I think it does set it up very well to be a possible trilogy. We know that we have Jenna Ortega joining the cast, apparently as the daughter of Lydia, right? From the original series. We saw a lot of the original actors back in action here when they were filming in Vermont. I just think it's going to be a lot of fun. I believe the director has said that they are committed to this being very much in the same realm as the originals, that they're trying to keep as true to the original story as possible. And it was Michael Keaton, I believe, who came out in one of the pubs and was saying that there is no real CGI. There's not going to be extensive or ridiculous amounts of CGI, that there's going to be a lot of practical effects in this film. So I'm
They're
very
going
much
Christopher
looking forward to
Nolan on
that.
this film.
Yeah, they're gonna go Christopher Nolan. No, I think that they're keeping it very true to the originals, which has a massive and ravenous, you might say, cult following. People who just love this film so very much. So keeping it as
Yeah.
much in that original spirit, I think, is going to be fantastic.
I watched it recently, not too long ago, again, just for nostalgia and because of the sequel coming out, and I was surprised with how it's a good pace. It moves. It's a very fast moving movie, and so I'm kind of surprised. Oh, it's almost over. It's what is it, like an hour 30, if not less. But it moves at a very good clip, and so it's a good watch if you haven't seen it in a while. But Beetlejuice coming out soon. Also, check out our social media stuff at Hub on Hollywood on Instagram. We did post pictures of Jenna Ortega and I'm blanking on his name, the director.
Tim Burton. Yep,
Tim Burton. Yeah,
who's,
old
back.
Timmy boy. I got some
Yes.
photos of him up there too, so check that out. Speaking of which, if you have not already followed us on social media, go ahead and do it already at Hub on Hollywood. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube and listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere. Check out the Hub on Hollywood. But speaking about Hollywood, let's talk about Hollywood East, of course, because that's what this podcast is all about. But I think somebody insulted Hollywood East,
Oh, no.
insulted New England.
I don't
Nay,
know that it was so
insulted
much of
you
an insult.
and me.
No.
I think so. Let me know if I'm reading into it. Let me know if I'm overreacting. Okay. So
Okay.
as
All
we
right.
know, Jamie Lee Curtis, Woody Harrelson, they're in Rhode Island, shooting a new movie. And during while they're there, of course, everybody wants to meet the stars, and the actors. And
Yes.
so they held a press conference. I believe it was in the State House, one of the government buildings, and everybody was there, lawmakers, local officials, yada yada, fans. And Jamie Lee Curtis, who was talking about the upcoming movie and how great it is to be filming over here, she said This is from an article that I read, that during her remarks, Curtis noted Hollywood actors recently ratified a deal with the studios that ended a strike after nearly 4 months. Quote, "We are here because there weren't a lot of opportunities around the country, and particularly in California. So, for my friends in California and California government, this is how you do it." She, of course, talking about the tax credit. But when she said that, I thought, okay, cool. Nice shout out for New England, Rhode Island tax credit. But I felt like it was a backhanded compliment in a way, because she was saying we're only here because of this tax credit. California, if you had your stuff together, we'd be over there. And so it felt kind of backhandy, like saying, yeah, we're here, we like being here, but we wouldn't really be here if California had all of its ducks in the row. Am I overreacting? What do you think?
I didn't even read into it like that at all.
Did I convince you? Did I convince you though?
I can kind of see where you're coming from there, but listen, I'm gonna defend my namesake, okay? Because it is all dollars and cents. It's business, James. It's not personal. It's just business.
Don't say it out loud.
And
we all know that. You don't have to put it, out there.
But it's a good thing if you think about it. It is a good thing because New England and the states here, there's Rhode Island, Massachusetts, we have really robust, and now in Massachusetts, permanent tax credits that bring these huge productions, these huge feature films, these huge directors, these huge actors, more and more and more. Every year we're having, it is a booming industry here in Hollywood East, and we want that to continue, okay? Screw California. We've got new movie studios that are being built here. We've got all of these incredible locations and scenery and history, and we've got everything that they need. Let's keep bringing them in. Jamie's right, okay? And this Jamie's right, and that Jamie's right. Just listen to the Jamies, James. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing, and I would like those tax credits to be just the first step for attracting these feature films and for that boost in the economy to continue to build and build and build, so that we become even more solidified as that Hollywood East. And it's like, forget California, forget Georgia, forget these other places. Like, this is where you want to be. And so that those opportunities to not only just do background or day player parts, but to really get the biggest gigs, to be, to get those A-list, top tier, I'm the king of the world. I'm the lead of this movie, opportunities here for all of the incredible talent that we have here in New England. But I can see where you're saying, I just don't want her to backslide. California gets their tax credit and now they go back there. No, screw it. We're just going to make it so that there's just really no incentive for anyone to have to go back to, let's call them old Hollywood. Shall we start a conflict? Shall we start an East Coast, West Coast?
I'm ready.
Sort of, yeah.
All
not
right,
violent,
Jamie.
Not violent, I'm saying. I feel like I'm always advocating violence on this show.
Yeah, what's up with you? We're going to get us canceled. Jamie Lee Curtis, I think we're good. The beef has been squashed, but watch yourself. You're on thin ice. You're on very thin ice.
Okay, all right.
Oh, goodness.
I think I need to get back into martial arts, get some of my aggression out.
There we go. Speaking, great transition. Speaking of martial arts, let's get into some action. Let's get into some heroics and fighting and stuff. Some actual fighting on the screen. And we'll be talking about 2 new shows. And I believe yours is also on Amazon Prime. But Zorro, I know. We all know I love Zorro. I've been buying, pushing, hoping, wishing, praying for a new Zorro movie starring, who I think would make a great new Caped Crusader, that being Xolo Maridueña. However, there is a new Zorro TV show on Amazon Prime. And I watched the first episode, and I'm hooked. Not saying that we don't need a movie. I still think we need a movie, but I'm good with this TV version of it. I won't go into spoilers, but I'll just kind of a general rundown of Zorro. The story is about this man who is determined to find who killed his father. Diego de la Vega will discover his family secrets that will change his destiny forever. The stars Miguel Bernardiu, Renata Notini, Emiliano Zorita, and Cristo Fernandez. Basically, how the lore of this Zorro world, it has, multiple people have worn the mask of Zorro throughout the years. And in this version, there is the current Zorro. He passes away, dying valiantly in battle. And a new Zorro must take up the mantle. And one thing that this Zorro is different with other previous iterations is that this follows a more of a supernatural avenue, where they're like the indigenous spirits of the West help pick who the next Zorro will be. And so we have the supernatural element to that. The action sequences are really, really fun and very acrobatic, which I love about Zorro. And lastly, one thing I like about this is that it looks like a lot of money has been put into the production, because many of the sets, many of the locations look real, look practical, but it also has that, big budget vibe when it shows like large, CGI or visual effect heavy scenes. But I'm in the first episode. I think it's done very well. Lastly, it's all in Spanish.
Nice.
And so, so it's all in Spanish. You can put, English subtitles. You can even do an English dub. I am watching it in Spanish with English subtitles in case I miss anything. But I think it just adds to the authenticity, the vibe, the feel of authentic Zorro. And so I'm having a good time so far.
I dig it. And what do you think about who they've cast to be the Zorro this time around?
So these guys, I don't know any of the actors really, but the main actor, Miguel Bernardier, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's actually from Spain. He's a Spanish actor, and I think he's doing a really good job. Again, I'm only the first episode in, so I'm still getting a vibe for this world, this version. But I think overall he does a really good job, and I'm digging the aesthetic of it. The fight choreography is really good, really realistic, and I'm digging the supernatural element to it as well. And so, it's on Amazon Prime right now. Check it out if you have the fire, this passion of Zorro that I do as well.
El pasión. Sí.
El pasión.
You know who I think would make a really good Zorro also? James Rojas.
Of course.
Yeah. I
think
feel like you've been training for it your whole life. So
I would.
All the costumes.
I'm very busy right now. My schedule is jam packed, so I'm gonna graciously, hold off on it. Again, I will still hashtag fight for Cholo for Zorro. So we're still getting that hashtag out there. But let us know what you think. If you caught Zorro, comment down below.
So, James, I'm also watching a new show on Amazon Prime that I was really excited for, and I had seen the advertisements for, and I was really excited to watch. So it's the new version of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, starring Donald Glover as John Smith. Maya Erskine, I think is how you pronounce it, but if not, I'm sorry, who plays his Jane Smith. And also, no spoilers in this review, but I would like to say that it is eminently relatable. I think what the Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, it was lacking in relatability and realism, this show makes up for tremendously. With also very satisfying action sequences, very realistic sort of spycraft that is not, it doesn't feel like it's all CGI and like, oh, they just took out 1 million men and nobody got hurt. Like, it feels a lot more grounded, and possible and realistic and like what might actually happen in real life. But it's not so much about the spycraft. It's not so much about the spying part. It's about the relationship between these two characters, which gives it such great texture, such great heart. and it's all about them, right? And I think that them being spies is just a metaphor for what people go through who care about each other when they're also very much invested in their work
Yeah.
and in their careers. But this is just a lot more fun than real life. There's also great cameos, great guest stars, just great acting all the way around. I'm just really enjoying this series. And it doesn't feel like it's very long. It doesn't feel like I'm watching for a long, like it's good. It's great. Like I'm enjoying it. I feel like other people will enjoy it. What do you think? You have a question. You look suspicious.
I feel like recently I learned that I'm maybe in the minority because I really enjoyed Mr. and Mrs. Smith when it came out. I forget what year it came out, but like I was having a great time. I thought it's a really fun movie. Of course, great chemistry between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. But I've from people on Reddit and online, not many people enjoy the movie, or maybe they look back on it in a different way. I know there was like the whole like cheating relationship scandal with that like overtook the movie, whatever.
Yeah.
But like I remember the movie in and of itself. I thought the action scenes were fun. I thought the chemistry was good too. So I found out that I'm maybe in the minority of people who like the movie. But I do love Donald Glover, and I do, again, based off the enjoyment of the movie, really excited to watch this show as well. Were you a fan of the movie, or?
I mean, I was a fan of the movie. I was a fan of, they're very, very beautiful people on screen doing exciting things.
Sexy things.
I just think that it's, there's something to be said about making it more real and down to earth, and how that is in some ways even more exciting. Look, I'll give it this comparison. Have you ever seen Millionaire Matchmaker?
I don't think so. I've heard of
It's
it,
like a
but
reality
no.
TV show that was based in LA and New York, and they take these super, wealthy and beautiful and really messed up people, and they try to like match them together, but everybody has like a personality disorder, like they're all cocky and full of themselves and superficial, and and it's really hard to relate to someone who's just I've got $1 billion and I don't care about people or anything. It just wasn't relatable, that show. But then you watch a show like Love on the Spectrum, which is on Netflix right now, I believe, and it's about autistic people and their pursuit of love and finding people that share their passions, and it's just so much sweeter, and it has so much heart, and it's so much more relatable. It's like, oh, he has that cool passion, they have that cool, they go through this challenge. That's the same kind of challenge that everyone goes through. So it's kind of like that. It's like Millionaire Matchmaker versus Love on the Spectrum. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it's like Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt versus Donald Glover and Maya Erskine. Like, it just feels closer.
Gotcha.
Closer. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's nice to look at beautiful people like Angelina and Brad, but they're not eminently relatable.
Representative of the rest of us,
And
except for
representative
you
of
and me,
reality.
of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Except for us. Of
course.
Yes. And your
Excellent.
gorgeous wife and my very handsome husband. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to watch it.
Which
Let us
they
know if you're going to be watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Also, if you're going to be watching Zorro. So far, I think we get the thumbs up. Giving the thumbs up to both of those
very,
shows.
very good, high thumbs up. And I'm not being ironic or putting down our spouses or ourselves ever. I mean that sincerely. We're all very,
Of course.
beautiful, and everyone is beautiful who is watching or listening. The Hub on Hollywood,
We have,
inside and out.
You could say we have the most beautiful listeners and most beautiful watchers, viewers
absolutely.
out there
We
of any
do,
of the show.
of course. So if you are listening or watching, you are gorgeous. So continue to watch us, because we're gonna get you in the movies, and just a beautiful group of people.
Excellent. Well, you know what else is beautiful? Aside from this episode, but movie trivia, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That counts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good transition. Let's go.
Perfect transition. We're going to end this episode with another round of CineQuotes. For those of you, again, who are not familiar, it's basically a new movie is picked every day on CineQuote.net, and you have 5 chances to guess the movie based off of 5 different quotes from the movie. Again, we play on Sundays, and so we have the Sunday Stumper, which is usually a harder movie to pick, but we will try to get this one correct. Right now, I think we're 1 and 2 on the CineQuote board.
Okay. So I'm pulling it up now. I'm ready to go when you are.
Okay, we're going to go with guess number 1 in 3, 2, 1.
We dared to question how we came to power, so he declared us enemies. Began destroying our homes and executing our people.
We dared to question how he came to power, so he declared us enemies, began destroying our homes and executing our people. Ring any bells?
No, and the voice doesn't sound familiar either. Last time we were able to identify at least the one of the actors, but
Yeah.
that doesn't sound I mean, it sounds dystopian.
It does. I was thinking
Yeah.
like Hunger Games, but that's not Hunger Games.
No. Hunger Games-esque.
Esque, for sure.
Do you have a guess?
Let's see. I don't. We can skip it for the next quote.
Okay, I think, we should just go ahead and skip.
Okay, we're going to skip. Quote number 2 in 3, 2, 1.
I hate how everyone thinks that you can solve any problem with magic. There are limits. This isn't some bedtime story. This is the real world.
Oh. Yes.
Go
Yes.
first. Do you have a guess? Is it Dungeons and Dragons? Or is it Willow?
It could be Dungeons and Dragons, but I feel like... I mean, it could be Dungeons and Dragons. You want to give that a shot?
Let's give it a shot.
I think it
Let's
is.
see. Dungeons. There's a 2000 version. There's a 2023 version.
Maybe the 2023 version. I think that
Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Let's try that, because that sounds like Justice
Honor
something.
Amongst Thieves.
Yeah, let's do. And submitting in 3, 2, 1. Boom.
Yay! All right.
Boom. We
We
got
redeemed
it.
ourselves a
Did you
little.
guys get it?
Yay!
I recently watched this movie based off of just reviews, and at first the trailers didn't look good. I wasn't attracted to it, but again, just word of mouth, it was really good. It did not do well at the movie theater. However, everyone was saying it was really good, and it deserved to see more. It deserved a wider, bigger audience. So I watched it on like Amazon Prime or something, or Netflix, and I really enjoyed it. It's a really fun movie. And so it's unfortunate that it didn't do so well in the box office, because I would love to see a sequel to this movie.
It was awesome. I also watched it at home because, honestly, I think it was the marketing. The marketing made it kind of seem, I don't know, weird and all CGI and cheesy. But it was cheesy in the best possible way. And it was hilarious. It was so funny.
So good.
And so entertaining, and it kept you going, the whole time. Like, this was great. It was a great heist movie. Great characters, great relationships, great everything. It was a good movie. Definitely the CGI was maybe a little sometimes, but it wasn't about that. It was like about the character. Like, it was great. It was so funny.
Good.
Yeah. So if they did make a sequel, I don't know if it's financially, feasible for them to make a sequel, but yes, definitely I agree with your assessment that it is deserving of such.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us on another week of the Hub on Hollywood. Again, let us know your thoughts on the new Apple Vision Pro, the saying goodbye of Carl Weathers. What was your favorite movie that he was in? Your thoughts on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Zorro, and Jamie Lee Curtis's Ruffling Our Feathers. But this was the Hub on Hollywood. Thank you so much for joining us. Like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. But until next week,
And all
I'm James.
that jazz. I'm Jamie. We'll see you then.
Bye.